Brian Windhorst on players belly aching at the Olympics. Tatum, Embiid, Halliburton, guys who sat down and not played. Team USA back out there tomorrow against Puerto Rico. Do you agree with that? It's not going to matter if they win gold medals. Nobody will care. Nobody will remember it. They'll all get over it. It's not like they're going to demand trades. As Brian Windhorst discussing Steve Kerr and his view on it. Do we agree with that?
Trade me to France.
France could use the help, by the way. They're getting crushed by Germany.
Oh. Does somebody have some action on that back there?
I might.
So I agree that they can't demand trades. I think for guys like Tatum and Embiid, I'm not sure this is something they'll forget.
Yeah.
Even if I don't think a gold medal cures all when the ego has been bruised like that.
Yeah. I also think just because they can't demand a trade doesn't mean that they can't make it miserable in the meantime. And, you know, how far away is the gold medal? Like another week away? So, like, how long do you want to deal with a miserable player in France in the Olympic Village? So, like, don't tell me they can't make it miserable. They can't demand a trade. True. But, you know, Windhorst, I like Windhorst, but he's doing an awful lot of water carrying for Steve Kerr these days.
Absolutely. And honestly, like, it doesn't change my mind that Embiid sat in the last game. I think, if anything, it just makes Kerr look like a bigger jerk. Like, you've got a plus 43 point differential in the Olympics so far. You can't find any place for these guys to play. And heaven forbid that you, I don't know, take 5 minutes off of LeBron or Kevin Durant's playtime. It's just, I think that he's just showing preferential treatment to some of the players, and that's totally his right. If he thinks that those are the best lineups for those games, it's just like, it would make a lot more sense if you're in a 4-point game or 5-point game, and it's these games where you're blowing doors on these other teams, and it's like, well, this is what we had to do to get the gold medal. It's like, come on, dude.
So that's how I feel too. It's like, Steve Kerr, like, talk about overrating your role on Team USA. Like,
everyone must sacrifice.
We are going to. You know what? Serbia has really good bigs. I talked about this earlier in the week. Serbia's bigs, you really got to look out for.
It's South Sudan's speed, you better watch out.
There's one big. His name is Nikola Jokic, and I get it. Like, I understand. They have one good player.
They have the fake Jokic, too. Nikola Jovic or whatever.
Got
the
it.
other one.
Oh, okay.
Miami.
So that's why you had to play all your bigs in that game.
For real and fake Jokic.
South Sudan is wing heavy. So, like, Steve Kerr, if you think we're at the point as a country where we have to start setting our lineup based on the big man depth of Serbia and the wing depth of South Sudan, you don't get it. You don't understand the situation. You could roll out pretty much anyone. You could roll out the next 12 and the 12 after that and probably the 12 after that and still win gold in this country.
See Canada.
Yeah, in this country, you could do that against Canada. I don't care about Canada or France or Germany or
I'm
anybody
saying
else.
If you went to if we're in the 36th range, then you're basically Team Canada.
You could win gold with, the Marcus Smarts of the world. So,
whoa,
that's like
that's a big statement.
If you had 12,
that's the most patriotic thing that
thank you.
Jones has ever said.
I'm getting a bit jingoistic at the Olympics, and so you're going to win gold. And so talk about overrating your role. And just, he's probably bored. He's like, we're going to win the gold no matter what I do. So I'm going to screw around and I'm going to make it about me. And I can't get behind it. But I am a little curious about the whole Tatum experience at the Olympics. He played no minutes. Then he started and was awful.
And didn't play well. That's the elephant in this room right now. Is
terrible.
That if you were doing this by merit, if you were doing it all based on who's playing the best, Jayson Tatum would be getting the least amount of minutes anyway. He's not been good when he got to start. Wouldn't that be a great opportunity to be like, hey, world, you shouldn't have benched me in that last game. Steve Kerr, you're an idiot. I'm the man. I'm the only first-team All-NBA player on this team. I'm going to go out there and show you. And he goes out and has 4 points in 17 minutes. And it's like,
the side of the
shoots
backboard.
It off the, thank you, Mego. Off the side of the stanchion. Yeah.
He's been kind of embarrassing. Like, he's not been, and it's the Olympics. So again, it has nothing to do with the Celtics, really, I don't think. But if we were doing this in terms of who's playing well and who deserves the playing time, LeBron James definitely does. He's been awesome. Kevin Durant was awesome in these last two games. Jayson Tatum would be at the end of the bench if he did it that way.
Here's where it has a little bit to do with the Celtics. Is Tatum going to start making shots again? Like, when's that going to happen? Like,
He just sucks forever now.
I mean, like he didn't shoot well in the playoffs.
True.
And now it's a small sample size at the Olympics, but like look at this shot. It's up on twitch.tv/Boston WEEI if you're watching. Like, what a brick.
Yeah, bum me out.
Here's where it
Didn't
affects.
get to do the little kiss.
Yeah, here's where it affects Tatum a little bit. Like, could you start making shots again? You're supposed to be one of the best
Funny.
players on the planet.
Instead, he like spanks himself. It's like, get back down the court.
You know, here you go, Monty in the Twitch chat. I'm just wondering, did the team win? This is my point. Steve Kerr, people are acting like they're winning because of Steve Kerr's lineups. They're light years better than the rest of the world. It's not even close. People, and Arcan, you're guilty of this. People who are acting like the gap is closed and it's competitive with the rest of the world, it's not. Everybody's just bored watching the Olympics because Team USA is so much better. So it has nothing to do with Steve Kerr's lineups. Windhorse wants to do this too. He's like, oh my God, Steve Kerr, you can't argue with the results. It's Team USA against South Sudan. It's Team USA against Serbia. If they're not winning by 30, you're doing something wrong. It has nothing at all to do with Steve Kerr and his button pushing.
It's
Nothing.
possible that Kerr's making it harder. Like, it's possible
Yes.
that Kerr is causing
He's holding them back.
teammates to be disgruntled because it's the LeBron James and Kevin Durant show, and it's really the LeBron James show. Like, oh my God, this is probably going to be LeBron's last Olympics, and LeBron has graced the presence of everyone. Look, it may turn up that later in, after you get out of this group play phase, that then LeBron does have to go put the team on his back like he did in the exhibition games. That's possible, but I really feel like that's what this is all about.
Here's another thing, and that's true. Here's another thing that I've noticed, and I'm seeing in the Twitch chat now, Dark and Stormy Nights. Is Derek White the best player on Team USA?
No, he's just not a threat to LeBron.
That might be true, but people want to celebrate Derek White's line the other day, right? Didn't Derek White, he was in double figures, he had a bunch of threes, and people want to celebrate his line. But then they also want to tell you that Tatum struggling is no big deal. So it's like you got to pick. Are we reading into these box scores? Or are we not reading into these box scores? Is the box score evidence that Derek White is a world-class player and he deserves a spot on Team USA? But then we can't ignore Tate. Like, just tell me which one to pick, and I'll pick. Are we ignoring the box score, or are we paying attention to the box score when it comes to the Celtics players that on Team USA? I'm going to pay attention to it, quite frankly, is what I'm going to do. And Derek White, before the last game, hadn't really done anything other than be plus $1 million, which everybody on this team should be, because, again, Team USA is light years better than the rest of the world.
Except for the fact that they've played 7 games and won 3 of them by less than 10 points. I mean, that's not you can keep saying that they're so much better than all these other teams.
They are.
They are better than the other teams.
They show up, they roll the basketballs out, they still beat teams, even when they're not trying.
Okay, so how come they won by some games by 25 and some by 2?
Yeah, because the first time they took it lightly against South Sudan.
That time they did it, and this time they did, and that time they did, and this time they did.
I think South Sudan's the perfect example.
It's really just the time of whenever it was. I mean, Canada was a close game. Germany was a close game. They've had close games. They had close games last year. This isn't some new thing here. I think that you're really overblowing this. I think they have a real chance to lose a game.
So
here.
Steve Kerr's button pushing is
Steve Kerr's a bozo. It has nothing to do with Steve Kerr. I just think that this team is good, not so much greater than everybody. The Dream Team beat everybody by 40. That's not this team.
Yeah.
All right, it's just not.
The gap's not that large, but it's still massive. The gap between the U.S. and the rest of the world is not as large as 1992. Like, I get that. But it's still massive, and it's not close. And Steve Kerr has nothing to do with anything. He has nothing to do with any of the Warriors championships.
I agree with that.
Never mind this. 617-779-7937. I said it. Marcus Smart. A team full of Marcus Smarts could probably win gold. Look at this shit. It's up on twitch.tv/Boston WEEI. Did I not say
Off
shot?
the rails.
Did I not say shot?
No, you did.
I was going to say. I was like,
I make my own fun.